Good
Hello
morning.
and welcome. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I didn't set the little intro tune on there, sorry. We were just gabbing away about kind of all things football, getting ready to rock and roll. And I just said to the guys, listen, let's just flip the show live. We'll pick this up and then we'll get into the show in due course, as ever. But Fedo threw me an interesting question, one that I've not kind of had to deal with probably on a camera. So Fedo asked me, Quinny, who actually is, I'm wearing a Bayern shirt today, so we spoke about Germany for a little bit, but he's like, Quinny, who do you actually support in Italy? And we've been on this kind of tangent of Italian football. I basically fall at the point of I really struggle to grab onto one team and say like, oh, them, because every team in Italy, even now, I'm watching Bologna for like Lewis Ferguson and Skorupski and these kind of things, you know. And even Bologna, I'm like, yeah, man, they're kind of cool, and you know, so Italy's one of those kind of funny divisions. And Jeremy has just successfully come through an audio test. So Jeremy, we've got you on as well. Good to see you, mate. Fedo, of course, thanks for joining us. We're live and loud. And that's where we're at. Yeah. For everyone joining us.
With you boys. It's interesting, Fedo, you were saying like in Italy, fans of like one real team will hate everybody. I mean, you know that I feel a bit that way being a Marseille fan. And if you ask me about Italian teams, like I can't stand Milan because we played them twice in European Cups in the 90s and obviously one when we won the Champions League and the other time. I can't stand Bologna because we had all those issues with them when we play against them in 99, if I'm not mistaken, when Dugarry head-butted an Italian cop in the helmet. If you haven't seen this video, it's a pretty funny moment in Christophe Dugarry's career. But yeah, I reckon maybe Parma is probably somehow the team that I like the most in Italy, maybe because Thuram was there and Bogosian was there. At the time, even if they beat Marseille 3-0.
Alan Bogosian.
There's a name. Alan Bogosian.
That is a name. I probably butchered it there, but what a guy! What a name!
today at work, you would know him. I'm assuming Quinny. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, who's like which striker who played in France at one point you liked and you don't know why?" And I was like, Dado Perso. You remember Dado? He played at Rangers, right?
Yes, he did. I know Dado Perso probably too well, but yeah, that he was very good against Celtic. Very good striker, quite underrated. And yeah. Very good at Monaco. They got to the final with him up front, maybe the semi-final.
Yeah,
the final.
There, I think.
Yeah. Was that it was the final against Porto they got to, wasn't it? That was that team.
I don't
Julie
and
Roffin.
He's not the starter because Morientes is there, I think.
Morientes.
He's in the squad for sure. Yeah.
So we've had a wee bit of a memory lane morning, which is nice, you know, a wee bit of memory lane morning, which is quite cool. When it comes to France, I'm quite agnostic to the French league as well. Like I kind of like Marseille. I've kind of, similar to the reasons I support Man City, I kind of always had a soft spot for PSG because they were always small and kind of shit, you know, but they got Ronaldinho that one time and they always had maybe one guy that was half decent for a while. And, you know, so obviously it's kind of interesting now seeing them. You don't feel that way about them anymore, but because it used to be Lyon when I was growing up. Lyon were winning like 6-7 titles in a row and they had all the youth academy players coming through. They're selling all their talent to Chelsea and Real Madrid relentlessly. And yeah, Marseille weren't really too much of a thing. PSG weren't a thing. And yeah, so France is kind of, it's only really the last, you know, and I hate to say this, but it is really PSG has kind of, in Monaco as well, the money Monaco got made a big difference because Monaco maybe fell into that PSG bucket for me growing up a little bit because it was like, yeah, they're a wee bit rich and stuff. It wasn't really what it became eventually, but for a while it was just like, oh, they had like Morientes, you know, or they had like Julie and stuff like that. And yeah, so with France, I'm quite similar to Italy in that respect, where I don't really gravitate to one or the other.
For Italy, Quinny, I think we have to give you Inter and Lazio. Also, it's a perfect match because they're both gemellati, so they're both friends. So Inter and Lazio are friends, so you can support both of them. So that's good.
And that's it. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember. But it's been a wee while since we've been on this show, guys. I'm just trying to think what page should I be pulling up about now if we're looking at this. But Inter's probably the one team I do find really easy, along with Juve, depends on their form, to not like. Because the Celtic, obviously, we beat Inter to win our Champions League. And I went to see, we played Inter in the Europa League when we had Ronny Deila as a manager. We had Van Dijk in the team. And they put us out and they screwed us over in Italy. We always get screwed over in Italy, Celtic. But yeah, so is it Inter versus Lazio this week?
Yeah.
No, it's Inter. You're gonna be an Inter Lazio fan because they're the the ultra groups are befriended, so Inter and Lazio always have love for each other. Basically, that's the only bigger two clubs that have love for each other.
Yeah, I like Lazio for everything on the pitch. It's kind of beyond that is where they get tough to follow. Like I've got a scarf up there to cover a pipe. Can I maybe show you it? I'll show you it if you haven't seen it. I can change my camera. It'll be 2 seconds. I've got a scarf up there. You can just about see it. It says Lazio, right? And the reason those scarves are up there is because I've got a pipe up there that I can't get rid of. So I thought I'll try and hide it with some scarves, right? And the scarves that went up there were the 4 fattest scarves I had, right? To cover the, from like the ceiling to like cover the pipe, it's just like as much of a. And every time that was on camera, people used to always say to me, "Oh, you need to take that down," because Lazio fans obviously have got, political beliefs and an opinion and all that kind of stuff. So whenever Lazio come up, firmly on pitch Lazio is what I'm about. So fan groups, I'm not going to get involved in that at all. So, and especially if it's winter, makes it even easier to dislike the fan group, for me.
Yeah, but fan groups are anyway.
Fan groups, I know.
Very, very strange things, and most of them have strange beliefs anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got fist bumps. We've got people joining us live as well. Sorry, mate. We've got Monkey. We've got Ugo, who I know is a Rossoneri, and we've got Liam King, who is a Jam Tart. So good to see some of you joining us live. We've got a couple of you here. We've been kind of shooting the breeze here for the first 5-10, going down memory lane. I kind of stumbled into thinking we were talking about matches there when we weren't, which is cool. But guys, like we said before we came into the international break, the show, we're going to have a wee kind of reformat and a wee bit of a kind of redesign because the draft section now is cut off to everyone with more than 10 cards, and there's no way we're going to be able to finagle an entry in there, and the likelihood of the viewers are going to be able to do that is even less as well. So I think we will just be previewing the majority of like Champion Europe, especially, particularly with what we've got kicking off this weekend, the Premier League Special Weekly. And I think going forward from what we've seen, a lot of the big special stuff does come into Champion Euro anyway. So I think that it's just generally the region we're probably going to be focusing on. And, we're open to suggestions from anyone watching this live, after we've been live, any kind of section, any sort of spotlight section you would like maybe on the show, maybe a club, player, profile, anything you would like to feature. We're definitely open to suggestions, adding things into the show for your enjoyment and your pleasure and your time, obviously, and all that good stuff. So you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and obviously tune in every week that we go live. Normally early in the week, we're on a Wednesday morning, I think, this week, just with Jeremy being in Oz, Fedo being Mr. International, no one ever knows where he is, and same with myself. Yeah, just getting everyone kind of tied up and together but generally early week. We like to get ahead of the weekend, have a look at the games that are coming at least. Is there any players generally we're looking at who are coming into form, out of form? And, we've got some stuff we'll probably bounce around with, but we're very much open to any format ideas or suggestions, players, anything that we've maybe done with the draft show you want to see stay or develop or, anything at all. Just drop it in the comment section live or after we've been live, and the guys will pick it up and shoot it over, certainly. I put the Bayern top on today, guys, because Friday night is actually a pretty hot Friday. And I was saying to Fedo as soon as we came on, this feels like it's going to be a bit of a rivals Friday. We've got PSG Monaco, which we've both kind of touched on already. We can get back to them. And Bayern are away to Cologne. So it feels like it's going to be a mad Friday to get back into domestic action.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Fedo, I thought you were going to go onto Bayern and Cologne.
We can take anyone.
Bayern Cologne. Yeah. We have very big problems at Bayern Munich. We don't have any players left, brother. We done. We don't have any players. Bayern Cologne should be an easier one. I think we play at home. So or do we play at home? Let me check. No, we don't play at home. We play away. But Cologne is kind of in a very bad spot at the moment. Like, don't get the groove together at all. I think they're on the relegation list as well. So if they don't get the groove back up, they might go down to second division. Harry Kane and Leroy Sané and Kingsley Coman, who's again going to be starting, probably going to make the deal anyways. I don't think it's going to be... The problem is Bayern also already secured the first spot in the Champions League, so they don't actually need to really rotate for the Champions League. And it's more important for them actually that they need to get those 3 points for the league, because we are behind Leverkusen, and we need to win every game because Leverkusen apparently is winning every game, so we can't afford to lose a game. So we have to win every game, even if it's outside of our home turf. And yeah, the team picks itself. Apparently, Guerrero might have a chance to play for Alphonso Davies because of all the travel Alphonso Davies has to do, because he had to go to Canada, then Jamaica, USA, and then now back to Munich. Same thing for every bigger international name playing in South America. For example, we talked about Leverkusen, our good friends Ezequiel Palacios. After the international game weeks, always a risk to play him because he has to come back from Argentina. This time, I don't think it's going to be a risk because they played pretty early. So today he can fly back to Leverkusen, and Leverkusen, I think, plays on Saturday. So I think that shouldn't be any problem for him. I actually think they play on Sunday. So this time, I don't think there's any problem for that. But normally, we have to be very careful for that. And Bayern Köln, it's going to be a very nice and entertaining game to watch, and especially on a Friday night. If you don't have anything better to do, I can encourage you to watch that game because it's going to be Bundesliga at its finest, and it's going to be either a 0-5 or a 1-2-3, something like that. So it's going to be amazing to watch, and Köln is really bad at the moment. I actually like
relentless beatings. Relentless beatings. 3 from Hoffenheim, 2 from Bremen, 2 from Stuttgart, 3 from Leverkusen, 6 from Leipzig.
But they won the derby, which is very strange. Then they won the derby. So yeah. Köln. And I don't hate Köln. I don't like them, but I don't hate them, so I wouldn't love them to go down. But yeah, let's see. I think Bayern Munich, there could be some good stacks if they keep a clean sheet. If not, you have your usual smashers with Harry Kane, Leroy Sané, Quinny. Kimmich is back, so that's important. Kimmich's gonna play. Kingsley Coman, and Upamecano apparently is fit again. So we have a second central defender again because De Ligt is still out.
And what do we think about Mazraoui? Do you think he's retaining his spot at right back?
He is gonna keep the spot at right back. I think he deserved it. He played good. I don't personally like him as much. But I think he's going to play. I think might be Konrad Laimer in Champions League, and he's going to play in the Bundesliga. Let me check what the experts say, like the real guys who watch the training. Yeah, they also expect Mazraoui to play and Laimer to be his second option. Against Köln, that actually makes sense. You don't need a guy like Laimer against Köln, who is more defensively strong. And because against Köln, you can go all out attack. And then for that, Mazraoui is definitely better than Laimer. So that makes sense. He's a decent smasher when he plays as well for FC Bayern Munich. It's just he's not as sure because as we on this podcast as well believe Konrad Laimer is an amazing player, and I think he should be the starting right back for Bayern Munich. Maybe just not against Köln because you don't need a Konrad Laimer against Köln. You need him against Leverkusen, Dortmund, Leipzig, Hoffenheim even, but not against Köln. So
I was going to ask you, if this is the presumed best 11 with, let's say, Guerrero in for Davis, we know Musiala's injured. Does Miller come in here?
Guerrero is better than Davis. Davis is
but Davis is maybe traveling and stuff, so Guerrero probably plays there.
Yeah.
With Musiala out, do you think it's Muller that just comes straight into this? I thought maybe Laimer might have had a shot in here because I know what you're saying about all-out attack with Mazraoui, but I got the sense that Laimer playing at right back was a kind of all-out attack approach because Laimer was getting into the final third all the time from that, just causing overloads and stuff. So do you not have Laimer starting at all, do you reckon then?
There could be a possibility of him starting. The problem is Tuchel wants to play Coman and Sané on the wings. Because if not, he could have played Sané as a 10, because Sané can also play as a 10, but he doesn't want him to play as a 10. He wants him to play as an inverted winger, basically, who then becomes a striker in necessary positions or not. So I think the top three is pretty set with Sané, Harry Kane, and Coman. And that being said, Serge Gnabry can't play as a 10. Like, this man is just a winger, nothing else. And nothing against him. But he's a proper winger, and that's what he can do. And the only viable option you really have left is Thomas Müller. So on paper, Thomas Müller needs to play because Kimmich can't play as a 10 as well, and Goretzka can't play as a 10 as well. Lima is also not a very good 10 in a way. You rather start Müller than Lima, Kimmich, or Goretzka as a 10. Just because of experience and what he did and what he's known to, and that's his usual position, basically. He started a bit more like a false 9. He's more like a false 9, but he can play a 10. Musiala, in my opinion, is going to be hurtful, but apparently he's already training with the ball, so he's 1 or 2 weeks away from coming back, so not the worst injury there. I would have played Leroy there, but Tuchel, and he would be stupid at the moment to change Leroy's position because Leroy is just on another level at the moment, so just don't change it. Like, don't change a winning team in this way. But otherwise, I would have played him as a 10.
That's kind of what I think, because I think Limer's so similar to Musiala in what you can get from
Limer
him.
Can't play as a 10. He never did. He never really
against
did.
Cologne for one game.
Against Cologne, he could maybe play as a 10. I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like, he can play in that. He's very similar to Musiala, like in terms of like how much ground he can cover and stuff like that, you know, and how he can find different pockets of positions and stuff.
He actually scored a.
You're not going to get that from Müller, and like you say, Goretzka and Kimmich aren't going to do that. And if you do want to keep that winning formula, like you say, I don't know, it's just something
but you have to play Müller anyway. I agree with you. I think he could actually play as a 10 against Köln, especially now that I think about it. I don't know if you remember the game last season where Bayern Munich lost against Leipzig and Konrad Laimer actually played as a 10, basically.
He was pressing. Yeah.
Exactly. So that he definitely could play as a 10. Konrad Laimer is amazing. He can play everywhere. And maybe not a striker, but even a striker probably he could.
Tuchel does love him. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
Does love him. He's so versatile. He's so good. He's every trainer's nightmare and dream in itself because he's so good that you have to play him. But since he's so versatile, you can play him everywhere. So he doesn't have a real position. That's the problem. And but I think Thomas Müller he's a club legend. He's very vocal. People love him. He's gonna play against Köln. Like, they need exactly those games you have to give Thomas Müller.
Fair. I think this could be a fun Bundesliga game to watch, but I think Jeremy Boy will tell us that this game is probably way more important. PSG Monaco, on 2 great games on a Friday. What do you think about this one, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be interesting as well because, it's the international window, and of course, you have on one side a team that's like heavily impacted by the international window, and on the other side, a team that has obviously much less issues when that happened. But yeah, with PSG the past few weeks, Fabian Ruiz was always in the starting lineup in Liga, and with Zaire Emery being injured over the international window, he's not coming back until like January for sure, maybe Feb. So you can expect again Fabian Ruiz to start up front. I think he'll stay the same. He'll stay seeing he's like we're at 4-2-4. But I think it's going to be interesting. It's Monaco kind of likes to play against PSG, and they like to still point against PSG. And when you just come back from an international window where all of your players were involved, Ugarte played the first game against Argentina, but he didn't play against Bolivia. So maybe he'll be back and ready to play. But you got Kangin Lee, who's been in form, was in Asia to play. So it'll be interesting to see how Luis Enrique does it. He's been so stubborn all season, Luis Enrique, with his tactics. He hasn't done any changes, whether he plays Liga or Champions League. It's almost always the 4-2-4. The only surprise is like who he puts next to Zaire Emery in the midfield. It's been like Ugarte, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz. Soler did one game maybe. So it changes quite a bit, but it'll be interesting to see what he does without Zaire Emery. You'd think it has to be like Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz, just because Ugarte has traveled to South America. But who knows how he's going to work it out. He said all since the beginning of the season, he said, I play what I want to play. I play 4-2-4. And then he played 1-4-3-3 just before the break. So he's definitely a little bit weird in the way he does his thing right now, Luis Enrique. But I think against Monaco, they really have to be careful because Monaco just loves playing against Paris Saint-Germain, and they're very good, of course, at leveling up, and they have the talent to do that. And it's a really good test for Adi Hütter, who had some good results, of course, since he joined Monaco. But when you're traveling to the Parc des Princes, you always want to make a good impression. So I think we can expect a good game, and maybe surprise. I don't think Mbappe was supposed to play that second game against Greece, but then France lost, so we're losing. So they get him in for the final half hour, and he scored a goal. And of course, last week everybody has seen what happened between France and Gibraltar. So the positive of that international window for PSG is hopefully Kolo Muani and Dembele by scoring a couple of goals and getting a couple of assists. Maybe have put their head back into place and their foot back into place. But having watched France play, neither actually played well. They scored, but neither played well. So it's definitely an issue with PSG right now that the defense is better than the attack when you have the talent that you have in attack. And with the player that have been the most informed, like Kangin Lee and Ugarte, back from travel, I think it's definitely a risky game for PSG. If you have a PSG stack, go for the defense because they've been so good since the past 5-6 weeks that you can trust them. And if you have a Monaco team, go for the defense because they've also been very good defensively these past months and a half. So I know somebody who has Cohn as a goalkeeper. I'll definitely play him this weekend, Fedo.
Yeah, I'm going to play him. Yeah, hopefully good AA. Good AA, my man.
Yeah, regardless, he'll get shots. So
yeah, he will get shots.
He will be all right.
Marquinhos is out for this game. So that's going to be interesting to see as well for PSG.
Skriniar has been bad. Skriniar has been pretty bad, like super slow. I don't know if Balogun is going to be able to play because I didn't actually check if he was playing with the US or something. But regardless, like Golovin, even if they play the young kids, might be an issue for the PSG defense because if one thing that has been an issue for PSG has been Skriniar when they try to play a bit higher and they leave space behind them. And without Marquinhos, he doesn't have anybody to cover him.
You think Mukiele might start then?
Yeah, he's been good actually. The couple of games that he played before the break, he actually impressed. So Nuno Mendes isn't quite there yet. Yeah, I wouldn't.
But Mukiele on the wing and Lucas Hernandez as centre back, or
I think he'd stay on the wing. I think he'd stay with Lucas Hernandez and Skriniar. Did I see an injury over the? No.
And then Mukiele in here for Marquinhos. That's maybe what I was thinking when you were talking. If he's suspended and he's struggling with pace, because the other option is Danilo Pereira and he's slow as a week in the jail. But I was looking at when you were talking there, Jeremy, like in terms of the injuries and stuff. So if we look at this midfield, they played Montpellier. Zaire Emery's obviously out. Ugarte travelling from South America. Obviously, the game's Friday night, like we've mentioned. Lee Kang-in coming back from Korea. So this three in midfield is probably going to be totally different as well, isn't it? To what's here. It's probably still going to be Mbappe, Muani, and Dembele. But like you say, it's probably going to be Fabian Ruiz. Maybe Vitor Ferreira comes back in here. So that Monaco midfield, but when we looked at that, like you were just talking about, like that's solid. This team, it's actually like a really strong midfield base in here, So PSG might struggle to get a hold of the game.
Fofana, by the way.
Fofana's being very strong right now.
Fofana has been the best. Like recently, I've watched some Monaco games. Also against the Greece, he was the best in my opinion.
Yeah, nice goal.
Yeah, the goal was crazy. What he did, the goal he scored was crazy.
He's impersonating his best version of Tchouaméni. He said after the game, "I just want to make sure that when the list comes for the Euro, I'm in it. So I have to show." Because when you look at the French national team, like Fofana is behind Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Rabiot, and Griezmann played in the midfield in France. So he wants to try and find his spot. But yeah, with Monaco and with the way they're playing, that 3-4-1-2, it's a proper fortress because defensively it's 7 defenders. When Hütter loses the ball, like those 7 defenders do the press, but as soon as they are under pressure, he doesn't mind them dropping completely around the 18-yard box. So they're very, very hard to break down. And they're also very quick to counter attack, and PSG has struggled against the teams that have let them play football. They have been better against the teams that have kept the ball, and when they had to play in counter attack, it was that weird 4-4. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be super interesting, because everybody's wondering when Luis Enrique is going to understand that you can't play 4-4 in Liga and hope that the other team is going to get the ball because you're PSG. So maybe he will surprise us and actually realize that he understands what he's supposed to do. On PSG, I was listening to some like PSG fan podcast or whatever over the international window, and they reckon Kimpembe and Carlos Soler are probably going somewhere else in January, because they are looking to find another centre back. I know. As soon as I heard that, I bought a Soler. They're looking to add another centre back apparently, and they are apparently also looking at the midfield, which I'm not too sure why with what they have. But it's also because obviously they can't really touch the attack. So.
Wow. Yeah, Carlos Solers are pretty cheap right now, especially the old ones. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, I got him for like 0.02, and wherever he goes,
yeah,
like we've seen with Sarabia and with even Ander Herrera the first year that he left, wherever they go, those guys, they play and they play well. So no doubt
good
to find
players.
something nice.
Yeah, definitely, man. Oh, buzzing for wee Carlos. King Carlos is coming back. Love it. Great news. Mukiele might start. Good times at PSG. Let's hope Monaco get the points. As far as the show goes today, guys, and looking ahead to the fixtures, seeing all this was Friday, and I thought this is going to be a mad Rivals Friday. I thought this is going to be, everyone's had their shots of playing Rivals over the international break, and it's been good fun and stuff like that. But I think as soon as the TV comes on and you're watching one of these games, every Sorare manager is going to pick up their phone and make a rival squad for it, because it's definitely an extra little bite into a game you're watching, isn't it? I think anyway.
Have you been on to it, Fedo? I haven't had an invite yet. I guess people are scared to get run over by the Marseille fan.
Oh, I'll try and sort you out, Jeremy. If anyone's got one, hit Jeremy up, obviously.
I was with the guy who worked with me. I put him into Sorare and he got an invite before me. That asshole. Anyway, sorry.
He did.
Language. He showed me this weekend over it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm doing rifles," and it looked pretty amazing.
By the way,
I think that's going to be a bit of a game changer for the platform.
By the way, Jeremy and Quinny as well, because you have such a lovely shirt on, and we talked about him last week, last podcast 2 weeks ago, and your favorite team being Olympique Marseille, obviously. Did you hear that they might get Fabio Vieira as a loanee in January?
No, I haven't. Marseille?
Yes.
No, I didn't hear that.
Apparently, Marseille wants Fabio Vieira, and it's pretty concrete, apparently. And they want him as a loanee in January.
Scared me for a second, because in the back of the shirt it says Ramsey. So if it was Ramsey we were after, we'd be in trouble. We'd be in trouble. That'd be good. I mean, I don't know if Marseille had somebody who could finish right now, that would be third or second on the table. I don't know if the midfield is the real issue, but I guess somebody who can create a bit more can't hurt.
But if you can get him on loan, and I think Arsenal wants to have game time,
We're the loan masters.
He needs some football IQ building. Just game time. Sometimes you just need some games in your legs.
One more thing that happened in the transfer window in France that would be interesting for, I feel like it's probably the French team that everybody has a stack or half a stack of. Rennes changed coach. Genesio resigned, and Julien Stéphan, who was the coach for 4 years when Rennes made it to the Champions League for the first time 3 years ago, came back and is now the new coach. And what that's going to mean for Rennes is they're going to be less of an all-out attacking club and a bit more defensive and making sure that they don't concede first and foremost. But that means also that the striker that they do have, the Guiri and the Terrier and the Kalimundo, are going to be called up on counter-attack, where I think they're probably more comfortable. So they changed that this week. Resigned and supposedly going.
Why did he resign?
He's been supposedly having issues with the sporting director since May. Florian Maurice. Both of them came from Lyon. And apparently he wanted to quit, and then they told him to stay, and he stayed. But then apparently the message didn't go very well. And they're very like Rennes is a club that is actually working well, with a good culture. And apparently when the coaches are struggling, they're having just a conversation with the owner, and it's like, if you don't want to go, it's fine, go, and I'll pay you whatever you want. And always, like, he ended up like this with Julien Stéphan 3 years ago, and ended up like this week with Genesio. And I don't know why they got Julien Stéphan back, because like he did some good stuff, but it's definitely a change compared to what Genesio was. But apparently Genesio had an offer from Saudi or Qatar, and he wanted to go and get the money as well. So it kind of worked out well for him. But turned out they're going to get rid of the sporting director as well. So it's going to be a pretty interesting change coming up at Rennes. They're not happy with the last two winter mercato. Like the two transfer windows. Sorry, they missed Kim Min-jae last year. I think they were going for another experienced defender this year that they missed. I think at some point they looked at Daily Blind as well, and they just missed their target every single time. And they got Matic where they didn't really need him. So they're just not very happy.
Especially they have money, right? Because they are owned by the guy from Kering.
Of money.
They are owned by the
and also this summer they bought for 40 and they sold for 160. So
yeah.
They also,
how much did
like
they sell Doku? 80?
Ugo Choku.
Yeah, Doku.
Doku was, I think, close to 100. Ugo Choku was 40.
Are you gonna change your opinion about Doku, by the way?
No.
He's like, buy it, buddy. Sick, buy it.
Good for him. At least I hear the Sorare Data podcast every week, and I hear all of them like how great Doku is, and he's the card you have to have. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. We'll see next year. give him 3 weeks. Let him get injured, and then see what's up. To be honest, obviously,
no. But I'm on your point. It's just he looks so good. To be honest, because I watch a lot of Man City games. And I think he's very good for Man City, maybe because he gives Pep something he never had. And that's why he looks so good. Even if he's not as good in real life, but he looks so good because nobody ever did that under Pep, basically, except Messi. And I don't want to tell anybody he is similar to Messi. By far, he's not. Oh, God, then we have to have another...
he's more like Man City's Neymar. For me,
exactly.
Yeah, he's or just Sterling, but he can score.
Exactly, he's a better Sterling. He's a better Sterling in a way, but I wouldn't even say he's a better Sterling because Sterling was class at his time. He was really, really good. Now he lost the edge. I don't know what happened to him, but since he moved, like the last 3 years, Sterling was not the same in my opinion. But before he was absolutely phenomenal. And
those kids who start at 16 years old.
Yeah, that's the problem. Because you only have 10 years of football in your body, so 26 is end of career.
Good for Doku, to be honest. Like all jokes aside, like as a human being, good for him that he goes in a club that's like 3 levels above his club and still like starts well, etc. But of course, also you play for Man City, you have less expectations to do everything on your own. Like if you make a mistake, there's 10 players that are better than you around you to help you. The ball always comes exactly where you want it. There's always an outlet for an assist. So it's good also that he's able to, like, when you play a full game or whether you play a full game or bits of a game, he's able to focus on what he's good at, and you see less what he's less good at. I guess
it's very different.
Maybe I'd love to be wrong, but the injury is coming.
No, but Jeremy, it's of course different if you play in a team that just won the triple, best team in Europe, instead of playing in Rennes. Of course, if you have somebody like Haaland, he's gonna make the shot, and of course he's gonna get the assist, and you look better yourself. Except other times. The thing is, I have to give credit somehow. I think the injury is coming as well, to be honest. But I have to give credit to Man City staff because they seem to have a very good edge with muscle injuries. They seem to understand how muscle injuries work and how to prevent them and how to keep their players fit. Because when Haaland was at Dortmund, he had every week muscle injury. Same like Doku. And since he went to City, you don't hear anything about muscles anymore. So
interesting.
maybe the physios are very good in this department, and maybe that helped those two players, especially in regards. Then you have other injuries like Kevin De Bruyne tearing his ACL every year, basically, but they can't really do anything about that.
It's not true for Haaland because Germany is a league that's made for forward as well, but also for Doku. Going from Rennes, France, where the league is known for its defensive solidity and for making sure you don't concede before you score. I think the past 4 weekends, the average goal is 13.5 by weekend, which is terrible.
Jeremy,
I
hate to shatter your reality, but I don't think anyone thinks that about the French league.
It's true, though. The best defenders are here.
No, that's not what anyone thinks about France, but that's what people think about Italy.
What do you think? But it's
about
not true,
wingers, it's about attackers, it's about cool midfielders. It's not about defenders in France. I agree maybe with what you're saying, right? But that's not what people think. Man on the street doesn't think about the French league for defenders. They think about Doku, they think about Mbappe, Neymar, these kind of guys,
Yeah, Neymar.
Lacazette, whatever.
When you look
Attackers, strikers, goal scorers.
Look at
the League of Talents, Jeremy, but the League of Talents, that's what it's thought of.
Defensive and tactical talents. Look at all those strikers in France who scored 8 goals. They go to Germany, they scored 35 goals in 10 games.
Yeah, agree.
It's much more defensive and tactical, and there's half of the teams who park the bus in France, and then half of the team who try to play football.
Except
Pierre. But that's not what the man on the street thinks.
Yeah, I agree with Hugo as well. Nice is defensive well now because they have the end coach, maybe. But all the French coach are known. But I guess you're right, though. When you think about League of Talents, you think about Mbappe and all those guys. But if you look at all the best teams in Europe, and I'm trying to think when I say that, there's a French defender somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Think about the best goalkeeper, the best defenders in the world right now. There's a French guy not too far. How did we just win a World Cup and a half and finally?
Oh no, I agree. It's just when you said that, I was just thinking somebody will be listening to this and thinking that's not what I think about France. I thought I'll say what maybe somebody's thinking because I'm thinking it.
Yeah, that's true. Italy is Catenaccio and defense, and France is the young kids that are crazy, and Spain is football, and Bundesliga is boring, and England is money.
Italy is not Catenaccio, and only Allegri is Catenaccio. Nothing else.
That's kind of like the man on the street. If you ask them, what do you think about Italian football? They'd say defending. Great defenders and boring to watch and yellow cards and all that. That's
De Zerbi was something that never happened.
Cortomuso.
There's always the exception, of course.
Just before we move on from Liga, what do you think about the game Lyon-Lille? How's that gonna play? 0-0? 0-0. That's a 0-0.
I'm not going to say again how happy I am with what's going on in Lyon, but I don't see Lyon getting out of the doghouse yet. It's good that they had their first result before the international window, but it's just still a little bit broken over there. I think they've just changed the sporting director, and they told the director of the club, whatever his role is, that is finished, but the next guy is only coming in January. I don't know what he's doing. John Textor is definitely hurting a club that's supposed to be a big club. So I see Lille smashing Lyon. Because even if Fonseca isn't shiny in this early season, I think he still has a better grasp on his team than what Grosso has at Lyon right now. But yeah, I think it's going to be hard for Lyon to recover until supposedly they have plenty of money to spend in the winter. So we'll see how they figure this out. I'm wondering
who has plenty of money. Sorry,
going to play.
Who has plenty of money? Sorry,
who has what?
Who has plenty of money? Lyon or Lyon? Sorry.
Oh, plenty of money. Excuse me. Lyon. He said he has plenty of money.
Plenty of money. Nice for Grosso.
But he's also they can't spend money because the FPF got them on the summer. That's why they did that weird recruitment of Nuama, who was bought by Molenbeek and then loaned to Lyon. Right now they're under the eye of like clubs have so supposedly went to the league and say they're not allowed to do that. Can you please go and check on them or something like that?
Yeah.
John Textor is hurting Lyon. Long story short, so I don't know when they'll be able to get out of it.
Yeah.
And for anybody who remembers how Cherki supposedly became amazing when Thierry Henry became the national manager for the under-23. Well, the last 2 games they scored 0 goal and conceded 5. So that was a short-lived dream, that one.
Honeymoon period there, wasn't it, for Thierry? Well, interesting. You fancy Lille to take this one? Fair enough. I see what you get. I see what you're getting at with settled side. You know, even guys like Umtiti, Yazici, good level of experience. I know Lyon have that with the likes of Tolisso and Lacazette and whatever. But yeah, interesting game. Thanks for bringing that one up.
Lyon struggling to be a team. Lille, like Umtiti is just finally back playing. I think it was his 2nd game or something like that. That one. But Zegrova, even though I think he's a bit messy.
He's getting some hype. This guy, isn't he?
Yeah. To me, it looks like just a futsal player who's lucky to be on a big pitch, but it's working what he's doing right now. So good for him. But you have when Lille is playing well, Unas, Cabela, Jonathan David up front, it's deadly. So and they're all just back from injury and trying to get back into form. So I think they can be good.
Yeah, love it. I thought we were almost kind of very nicely segue earlier into Man City v Liverpool when we were talking about Pep and Doku and everything. Yeah, that's on Saturday. So, we've got Play Sharper for it. Fantastic. So, John Stones is out, and was there something else that shook this team? I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, yeah, Haaland didn't play for Norway, so I wasn't sure how that would affect this game, but it looks like he's fine.
He's fine.
They got Alvarez to play.
Yeah, Doku's not going to play against Liverpool. I'm going to tell you that already.
He's just the best player, though.
You sure, but? You sure? No, do you not fancy him against Trent?
No, he's not going to play against... he's going to play Grealish, as he did against United. In the big games, he's going to still be on Grealish's side instead of Doku, because it's just what he gets and what he knows, what he gets from Grealish, and also they're more compact when he plays. And yeah, Doku is going to come in if they need him in the 80th minute, because that's also very crazy. Pep sometimes just doesn't sub. If he's happy with the game, he just doesn't sub. Like, there's other managers that just sub at 70th minute to do some regeneration and everything. Pep doesn't care. Like, he sometimes just subs at the 88th minute, nothing else, to give somebody a round of applause, nothing else. If he's happy with the team, he leaves the team. And that's amazing about Pep.
Fair.
So I think Jack Grealish plays. I hope Joško Gvardiol plays, because I think he deserved it. He played really good the last 2 games he played. The problem is he played 2 games for Croatia. So does he have another game already in the legs? But you can rest him in Champions League, of course, and play him against Liverpool. But he also said
it's
already...
6-pointer, but isn't it? Liverpool and Tottenham. Was it? No.
I'm a bit afraid, though, what Pep said about Joško, though, that he's nowhere near the level John Stones is at the moment, but he could become in the future. He said that, so that was a bit interesting. But I hope and I think Joško should play, because he's the best viable option there, and he played amazing in this role against United. Maybe not on Sorare, but in real life, he played amazing in the bigger games on this role. And yeah, against Chelsea, he did play good as well, but against Chelsea they lost, so they drew 4-4. That was a crazy game, by the way, to watch. Again, the last 2 Chelsea games were crazy, against Tottenham and against City. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's going to be very interesting to see. Doku, in my opinion, is not going to play. 70 is very steep for him. I'm not going to play.
It's the early kickoff on the Saturday, so it's in terms of coming back from internationals and all that kind of stuff, that might play a bit of a part for some of them. Because I'm thinking, like, looking at the Liverpool team, like, City have to go into this game to win it. Looking at the table as it stands, City are also riding high. Tottenham have fell away. Arsenal and Liverpool quite tightly behind them. This is a huge chance for Liverpool to get their name in amongst the title run, I think. And City know that Liverpool's the big, it's their big opponent over the last couple of years. Nunes coming back from Uruguay, Brazil, hot on form. Salah, Jota. Jota's done well for Portugal as well in the first international match. I had him in my rivals team. That's how I know. And then some other guys. Yeah, I know, but he'll be happy with himself. He'll be happy with himself. You know, he's done well. He'll be coming home with a wee spring in his step. But I don't know, something about this Liverpool team feels a little bit weaker to me than this City team. You know, I think like you've got Alvarez travelling big, but other than that, Ederson, I suppose.
Yeah, but Alvarez played yesterday, so
yeah,
it should be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because normally they played on a Thursday. That was big traveling. But if they play on a Tuesday, I think they should be fine. Same goes for Velasquez.
Yeah, because looking at so I'm just looking at the Liverpool team. Obviously, you've got Alisson, Endo, Nunes, Salah,
did Trent play both
Luis Diaz. Who?
Trent. Did he play both games?
I don't think so. I think he played the second one or something like that. And Alexis McAllister. That was the other one I was thinking of. So it's like 4 or 5 key players there that are slightly different. Maybe a day's difference in terms of preparation for this, which may not sound like a lot, but these games can be quite fine margins. Picking the team will be difficult, I think, for both. Should be really entertaining. I think this will be a rival mania one as well because, you know, who do you back? Do you back City? Do you back Liverpool? Do you maybe split the teams up a little bit somehow? I don't know. I think like Chelsea was 4 each, wasn't it? The Man City game. I think this could be like a high scoring affair easily, like a 3-2, a 4-3, you know, quite comfortably. Huge game for both.
A perfect watching time as well. Perfect. Like 12:30, mid-noon. Amazing. Wow, the odds are that bad for Liverpool?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
City at home.
It's good, but it's not, yeah.
Just having a wee look through Saturday if there's anything else that was worth particularly mentioning. We've got the main bulk of the Bundesliga playing at 2:30, so not a lot of it will be televised in the UK for anyone that cares. But Leverkusen are away to Bremen. It's a decent match. Dortmund versus Gladbach feels like goals galore. So does Wolfsburg versus Leipzig. That just feels like a couple of games that should go off. Same with Atalanta and Napoli, 5 o'clock on the Saturday.
Yes.
Who's that new coach, Fedo Mazzari? What does he do?
Mazzari, he's just
he
just talks a lot, nothing else. Like every time they lose, somebody else it's the fault of somebody else. Mazzari was the coach when they were good 10 years ago with Cavani and Lavezzi. He was that coach. Then he went to Torino and others. He was not good at all. And now he came back because De Laurentiis wanted a cheaper option for the moment. But he's not going to last after this season. He's not
him at the helm. De Laurentiis is in charge, basically.
Yeah, De Laurentiis is in charge. That's FC De Laurentiis. It's not FC Napoli. It's FC De Laurentiis. But it's fine. He made that club. He gave them the win after this many years, and
yeah. Because one of the guy who worked with me.
I have to give one thing.
I
have to give one thing. I didn't like him as much because I think he was overhyped because I thought he was not that great. But Luciano Spalletti is not a bad coach at all. Like what he did with Italy as well. In the just 4 months he's having Italy, just looks complete different team. Like they're playing a complete all-out attack.
He's a great coach.
He's a great coach. So I thought it was more on Victor Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia and Kim Min-jae and Alex Merritt, Giovanni Lorenzo that they just overperformed the overperformance. But apparently it was a big chunk of it was a part to Spalletti, and I have to give him credit for that.
Yeah, a friend, a kid who works with me, is not a kid, he's my age. He's a former Napoli ultra, like he's from down there, and he went to see there. And he said that when Mazzari came back, apparently he had to like sign an agreement that he would play the way De Laurentiis wants to play, because apparently Mazzari has always played 3-5-2. But De Laurentiis told him, if you want to come and play here, you got to play 4-3-3 this year. You don't have a choice. You have to change your tactic. And he said yes, so he could get the job. So like that smells bad for even if it's only for 7 months. And apparently Tudor didn't come because he wanted 2 years, and De Laurentiis said no, you can only have 7 months. And so that's why they went for the next one. Yeah.
Tudor would have been great, to be honest. Tudor would have been very great for Napoli. I think he would have been the right man to replace Spalletti, to be
Apparently,
honest.
he said, I'm happy to come and do like sign until the end of 2025. And De Laurentiis said, no, it's only until June.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
Mazzarri is
Spalletti
gonna
said.
leave, and then in summer they might go for Tudor. But apparently Tudor wants the Juve job, but I don't think it's gonna
a long
be.
time away.
Yeah.
Well, Tudor was assistant to Pirlo, and I think like a lot of people give any good that came from that time. They give a lot of people gave the credit to Tudor rather than Pirlo.
And he likes
over
Juve.
time.
He's apparently a Juve fan. So he's apparently a Juve fan. He also said Juve is the biggest club. Always
he played for Juve.
He played for Juve. He loves Juve.
A minute
so
there, right?
Talking about Juve, on Sunday we have probably the biggest game in Italy of the season, Derby d'Italia, in Inter versus Juve. And it saddens me to say, as a Milan fan, but Milan-Inter is not as great of a match in prestige than Juve against Inter. That's the biggest game Serie A has.
Wow.
Period.
That's going to be a good game.
Interesting.
Now that Juve plays a bit of football.
Yeah, Juve plays a good bit of football. Crazy thing is that Rugani stepped in for the Mr. Everybody Danilo, and Rugani actually plays decent.
Rugani is decent, but he's just never really happened, has he? You know, he's always promised to be good, but it's amazing he's still in that squad, isn't it?
You're right, it never happened. He had it all, but it never happened. He was so
How old
good
is he
at
now?
Napoli.
How old is he now?
28, 29, 28.
Because he's been threatening to come through that Juve team for about 10 years.
Yeah, he's 29. He's 29.
Wow.
Because he went to Rennes as well. Then he played in, obviously, what shirt he's wearing there? Genoa or Cagliari?
Cagliari. Yeah, Empoli was so good. At the beginning of Juve, he was very good as well. But then I think Maurizio Sarri destroyed him, which he does to some players. And but Rugani is so decent. I'm so impressed what he did in the last 4 games that he played for Danilo. I didn't see Danilo miss, basically. Unbelievable. But Danilo should be back in 2 weeks or something like that, so that's gonna be good. Federico Gatti, by the way, came from 3rd division. Amazing player. Boom. Also scored for Italy against North Macedonia. The most important, because we had to win that game. And he's really doing good. He's perfect player for Allegri as well. Sadly, he has no cards, but yeah. Brema as well. Holy moly, that defense.
It's coming on a bit. They just need a manager now to come in and make them attack.
Yeah.
Not that many cards for Inter either, you know.
That's gonna be a good game. But most of them have a card from the 2021. Yeah.
Just
just not the picture,
Exactly. Most of them have actually a card. All of them all of them have a card. Each of these players have a card.
Yeah.
Nah, it's gonna be a good game. It could be boring. It can be either super cool and super amazing, or it's gonna be the most boring game you have ever watched in your life. That's gonna be this game, basically.
See, I found it really interesting that you said Inter Juve is the prestige game, in Italy. I thought, like I say, when I grew up, the Champions League final is AC Milan Juve, and it was always AC Juve for that kind of millennium period. So
it's the biggest.
I just found that
they have the biggest fan bases. They have the biggest fan bases in Italy, and it's not only for a reason called Derby d'Italia, which means Italian derby, and Inter and Juve hate each other to death. Inter and Milan are cool. They don't like each other, but they're kind of okay. I acknowledge you. You're fine, basically. But Inter Juve, they hate each other, and So I think the 3 biggest derbies we have in Italy is Inter Juve. Then we have Inter Milan, and then we have Juve Napoli, because everybody hates Juve. You have to understand that everybody hates Juve in Italy.
Yeah. I know. I've been told that one a few times. Everyone hates Juve, right? Universally, Juve are hated.
Exactly.
But But I found, again, ahead of the Rome derby, Juve Napoli.
It's a derby. It's a North against Sud. It's a North.
Okay.
Derby della Capitale is also very good and very feisty. Like it's one of the most. It's the feistiest one. Like the people really fight in the street and everything. It's very prestigious. But like for the whole dimension of Italy, like the Derby del Nord Sud, Juve against Napoli is bigger because it's really North against South. And that's a very, very immense in a country like Italy that it's so divided between North and South.
Sure. Got you. Fair play. Cool. I also noticed as well, guys, this week there's actually quite a lot of Monday football. I don't know if you have checked into this as well. But on Monday, yeah, we've got 2 games in Italy. None of them are particularly exciting. We've got a game in La Liga as well. And we've got Fulham versus Wolves in the Prem. So I think that's... Except for France, I think. Oh, no Germany. So 3 out of them. So there's a few, 3 out of the 5 have a game on Monday. So quite a wee busy Monday night there to finish the game week off. Again, none of the games are overly amazing, but Girona I'm excited about, of course. And, maybe Bologna, some fans out there and stuff like that. But interesting to see this weekend because, again, we've got a really busy Friday. And there's some kind of leftover pieces hanging out on the Monday. So quite a spread out weekend. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on?
Have you guys, what have you guys plotted on during the international window? Have you looked into getting more Prem cards for the competition, or?
Oh, don't talk about that, Jeremy. Just leave me alone with this, really. Man, I bought. This is unbelievable. My luck at the moment, like November has been the worst month on Sorare I have ever had. This November has been awful, like for real. And I bought Dibu Martinez. I bought him for a lot of money in rare, and also Pau Torres. So I wanted to stack Dibu and Pau Torres for this Premier League competition because they have very good fixtures, except the first one. But against Spurs, but they have very good fixtures. So and then I had when this was announced, I had Madison out until January. Then I had Kulusevski. I still have him. He's still fit. And then I have Jared Bowen. Okay, Jared Bowen apparently is also out for 2 weeks now because he has something on his knee. So basically, I had those 3 new cards already. I bought the other 2 new as well, but now I am forced to play Dibu Martinez, Pau Torres, and Kulusevski. And the nicest thing is Kulusevski is playing against Dibu Martinez, so that's pretty shit already.
Yeah.
Only the beginning. It's only the beginning.
It's only the first week. But I need Jared Bowen to get fit again because he was my initial plan that he could play instead Madison until Madison basically is fit. Then it's going to be the spine around Madison, Pau Torres, and Dibu Martinez, which I'm pretty excited about. But Matt, just become healthy again, my friend.
What about you? Did you get something going on?
I was going to say, I'm glad you asked, Jeremy, because I bought a Premier League new season team for the last Premier League new season competition they did. I don't know if you still remember it. It only lasted for 3 weeks, and it was only for shirts. So I had that team, but I bought that team to do that competition and then to give away the cards. So I'm down to like my last 1 or 2 because I've been giving them away and such. So I won't be going after them again, but I still have 1 or 2 to give away. And I normally do that on the main channel on the Deadline show. So if anyone's watching this and wants a card for the Deadline, you know where to find me. So no, I don't. But I did go and pick out, after listening to the Sorare Data guys, I went and picked up a Ramsdale on a DNP limited card for 220 for myself this week. I don't know how advantageous he will be in the Premier League. I suppose he will be in the Premier League 270, a Ramsdale. But I was also looking, when I did my preview for the tournament, if you look at the Madison injury, it opens up a straight slot for Bentancur, whose L15 at the moment is 23. And his L15 is going to hang low for a couple of games in this tournament because he's got some sub appearances dragging down with the DNPs, So,
but is he
Bentancur, yeah, he's on to start again at the weekend, and for as long as Madison's out, I think he's the fit. He's the sub, at the moment. I thought it might have been Heel, but Heel's been coming on as a winger, a wide attacker, more than a central player. But so it looks like Bentancur's the stand-in for Madison. Like if you think about it, when I was at Celtic, like it was Hatate for Turnbull, that kind of situation. I know it's not been the same, but that's the situation I see it from watching Spurs and whatnot.
Is Bissouma injured or is
yellow card suspended?
Yeah,
yellow card. Yeah,
so it was already. Why was Højbjerg playing?
Yeah. So Tottenham actually have a really tough game this game week because not only is their defence decimated, but now their midfield is also decimated. And
That
Dyer is probably a good shot as well for both the 220 and the Prem because he's got a low one and he's going to play.
Yeah, but he's gonna be shit anyways. He's so bad.
Fair.
I would not even pick him up for that. Even if
they changes your life.
Yeah, man.
I think it's going to be a great week for Villa. I think Villa are high as a kite now, and they score 3 goals every game now. And I don't see them not scoring 3 goals into this team. And Tottenham cannot score more than 2. If you go and look at Tottenham's results this year, there's one game that they scored more than 2, but every other game they see, as much as we're talking about Ange Ball and they've been free flowing and they have been fun to watch, but they aren't actually scoring goals, overall, even before these injuries, even when Maddison's fit and everything. So, look, 2-1, 1-0, 2-1s, like all 2s. The game against Burnley, they score 5, right? Take that away from it. Oh, sorry, I've not got the screen share. The season starts at Brentford here. They score 5 against Burnley, but every other game, they cannot score more than 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
Even with people fit and they're firing in form, they're beating Liverpool, whatever. They can't score more than 2. Whereas if you look at Villa, they have to score 3 a game. Like it's kind of the opposite. So I think maybe 2 there, but 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. There's a 1, fine. 6. Maybe I've got a wee bit of an exaggeration, but you do see the point. They score more than 3 way more often than they don't, which is quite an incredible statistic when they're playing midweeks and weekends. They're doing this in the league. They're sitting 5th in the league at the moment on Tottenham's heels. Very much slept on. Also, I'm high on McGinn at the moment. Watkins for me, but it's probably one of the most underrated guys.
He's class. I wanted to buy him, but he was too expensive. I'm not gonna buy him for this Premier League competition only. He's like 400 quid in rare, so that's a bit too expensive. I already overpaid. Didn't overpay because the other guy paid even more after me and everything. But Dibu Martinez was already so expensive, I couldn't have just afforded to buy another Watkins, basically.
Oofed. So no, I won't be actually entering this competition, I don't think, but using a wee bit of the intel that's coming out around it to maybe facilitate my 220 or that kind of thing happening. But I think anyone that does have Premier League cards that are buying into this tournament, like I said, what I mentioned there, it's kind of easily forgotten that this is actually the second tournament that Sorare have done where you need in-season Premier League cards. So, this is the winter one that they're doing. They've done the jersey one. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't at the very least an end-of-season one or something. You know what I mean? So I think if you have went into this tournament, you'll get a few bites at the cherry, I think, on that front. I think they want to give that in-season thing as much value as possible. So then when we jump into next season, we're all turning around and going, well, did you see what they did last year for in-season cards? They did this in the season. They did this in the winter. They did this here, that, da-da-da. So I think it's going to be fun.
Testing this out. Agree.
It's just the beginning,
the reward for the long cap to 70 were a bit look how good those rewards are. Make sure you get onto the next long one.
But again, in their defence, or to their credit, they have always said when they launched 270, even when it was a weekly one, that they wanted the best stuff to come out of that. So to really back that up with a monthly, the guy won a unique Salah, I remember hearing somewhere.
There was somebody won a Bellingham and
I think it was this Sorare Ramble podcast.
Ridiculous card together. Yeah, I was great fun.
But the Sorare Ramble podcast, they went through, but the winner's one of it, certainly. So if you haven't caught that podcast out this week, feel free. I think it went out yesterday or the day before. But Salah unique, huge win. I think huge rewards. I don't know what 220 will be like because they've never always promised us that 220 would pay out good cards. So even though we've got high tiers getting paid out, I'm not as optimistic that you're going to reach as high with it.
It's a different game. 220.
220 is a very
maybe mid
competition.
A mid grab, not a bottom tier, not a top. Maybe a wee.
How does the prize pool look like in Super Rare and Rare? Can you just put it on the screen, please, for a moment?
Let's have a wee peek if we can. So I guess it'll be in the pro section because we're all Sorare pros now. Love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we click on Super Cap here, prize pool,
Oof.
and then open
Okay,
it
the
up.
first one gets a star, so that's not
Yeah.
bad.
No cards in it as of yet. So good tiers are available, but I'm not sure you're going to hit as high in the reward payout. It
How much
maybe
is tier 1? How much is the tier 3 in Super? Sorry, like until when do they pay? Until when do they pay out the tier 3? Because there's decent tier 3s in Super S until 30. The 30th. Okay, interesting. There's decent ones.
By the way, somebody won is a tier 5 super rare. Liam Scales.
Oof.
Tier 5. He came out as.
That's nice.
Really?
Yeah.
It's definitely started, right? Yeah, there's no.
How the hell?
I didn't check this guy's team, and then somebody messaged me saying someone got Scales out as a T5. I was like, no way.
Wow.
Oh God.
So you never know what's in those pools, man. They're deep.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't think Sorare even know what's in them.
I want a Diego. Like I want a Diego Carlos as a tier 5 super from Aston Villa. You know.
Oh, I'll take that.
You know what I mean?
Take that too.
For sure.
And that man is a beast if he plays.
Let's have a look at the rare one as well. Let's have a look at the limited one. Can we get rares paid out? Is it just we do? We get some rares for the top 5. A bit shallow, but it's 220. Fair.
It's 220 to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you can buy a team in limited. You probably can buy a team for £5. Like not even joking.
In limited, the issue is going to have like the common goalkeeper that can actually fit the 220.
Or the common cheat codes that can rotate in every week from the
but without I guess you swap. You can still swap even though you can't play the draft.
Yeah, so we kind of hack in there. So the Bentancur, for example, if you're using the limited, you can get a wee common Bentancur in, for example, or if you want to do the goalkeeper, you've got a Ramsdale.
Or common Mbappe if you have a lot of players that are limited and low.
Oh, Mikey Basson brings up a great point, because one thing I'm excited about, guys, I'll probably talk about this on the podcast, but I suppose we'll close the show out with this. But they mentioned, did we get a wee notification about it? Premier League winners. This thing, we're getting new faces every Tuesday, featuring missing cards as an exception. A small group will land tomorrow, which is today. So we're going to get some new faces. But we have a wee peek, see if we see them. Auctions. And then what we're looking for is serial numbers 1 on a rare. Because there shouldn't be that many of them. So let's say serial number 1. Maybe someday in here. No one exciting. Anyway. Limited. Does that reveal anything more, perhaps?
Palmer?
Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
He's out.
Who else?
No one else interesting. Maybe need to watch it. Maybe.
I mean, Witek was all right when he was in the Netherlands, but
we really want a Luis Palma. We really, really want a Luis Palma because he's been absolutely killing it for Celtic. Not a big fan of him. Yeah, he's all right, but
he will get one. Man. He will get one.
You can't not give this guy a card. Under 23 forwards, he's doing this. So
I think Enzo will get the card as well. Enzo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
Doku
probably.
Yeah. Doku needs more minting, apparently.
Yeah. Somebody jinxed it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting who they're gonna choose and what they.
It ties a bit in Champ Europe before we say bye to everybody. But during the during the international window, what I did was getting my teams ready for the Asian Cup. Early January, there's the Asian Cup, and if you look at the groups of Japan and Australia, the first 3 games they play no one. Japan plays Vietnam, Iraq, and Indonesia. The first 3 games of January. And those are games that are, there's like players are like Minamino, Ritsu Duan. The goalkeeper, I think, is Osako, so he's in Japan, but he's in under 23. And then Australia has like some solid players, and same thing, they're playing no one. So everybody's looking at like AFCON and finding the replacement keepers or whatever. There's actually a few keepers that are cheap to replace some that are going to Africa or Asia. But yeah, I think if I built myself a little Japanese stack for the competition. It's worth having a look at.
The goalkeeper would definitely put me off. Who was it that played the game yesterday? What's the boy's name again? Suzuki, is it? No,
Suzuki played. But the player's Osako. The keeper is Osako.
You think so?
Their starter.
You don't think for one of those games, but he'll randomly screw you over?
Yeah. I was gonna say he started all the games.
But is it covered? Is it gonna be covered? Is it gonna be covered?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if they cover the qualifiers.
Yeah, but they just said they covered the AFCON. They didn't write anything about the Asia Cups.
I think it's because it's not that of a big deal. They covered it last time.
They covered it last time. I think that's good enough for me.
We talked about it.
Yeah, fair.
I don't see them not covering it when they have all the players covered and when it's not there.
Yeah, no, man, I'm with you. One thing I'd want to say, just because we've got a lot of people watching us now compared to when we kicked off the show, but we're going through a little bit of a reformatting thing now that the draft has been closed off. I made a few notes as we went through the show there, but for anyone that's been enjoying the show through the draft modes, maybe just finding us now, we're aiming at Champ Euro as the main kind of topic of conversation, and any suggestions for anything you'd like to see in the show, drop it into the comment section after we've been live. I know anyone listening to this right this second is live, not in the live chat. Wait until we're done and then leave it as a wee comment. I mean, the guys will have a wee look at it, guys. Thanks everyone that's joined us. Jeremy, Fedo, it's been an absolute pleasure. Good luck to everyone who is getting involved in the Premier League Smasher competition as well as anything else this game week. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Cool. Take care.
It's in the next one.
Take care, everyone.